r/AskReddit. How do you remove a house guest that has overstayed their welcome? Straight up tell them. I know you don't want to go stay at your mom's, rent a hotel, sleep in your car. But you can't stay here. I gotta kick you out. Do you need me to help you bring anything to your car? Literally said something along these lines to someone a few days ago at 11 PM. They'd been at my house all day. I don't play when it comes to my personal space. This method has always worked for me. Look, you know I love you, right? You're my friend relative. I love hanging out with you. But I gotta say, it's closing time. You don't have to go home. But you can't stay here. You're welcome to come back some other time. But for now, right now, you gotta go. This way it conveys the intention with as little hurtful impact as possible. I've used this line verbatim dozens of times. And have never had anyone get upset because of it. And they always leave. You sound like a bartender. You don't have to go home. But you can't stay here. Is something I've heard bartenders say before. I suggest dropping subtle hints. Light a candle and ask them if they think it smells like get the hell out my house. Tell them that your downstairs bathroom is broken, but if they need to go, there's another bathroom down the hall. Out the front door. Directions to their own house. Directions to bathroom in their own house. Call animal control while in the room with them and describe to them the large animal in your house that's eating your food and sitting on your furniture. Edit. Fixed typos. Super subtle passive aggressive. Got it? Light a candle and ask them if they think it smells like get the hell out my house. Man. Candle scents are getting really specific these days. Tell them you have to go return some videotapes, so it's time for them to get going or whatever. Sure. You can get rid of an amateur like that. But the real players fire back with a quick "Oh, I'll come with you. I could use a walk." What videos? Oh. No room in the car? That's cool. I'll just hang out here and play your Xbox for a while longer while you're out. I've been hanging to try this game. Oh. Your housemates don't like your guests home if you're not here? That's cool. I get it. My housemate is a dickhead too. That's why I'm here. Haha. What time you coming back? I've got some hits to do anyway. So I'll duck out for a while and meet you back here. Oh. I can grab some more beers while I'm out. Party. Jesus, there's a guy in my dorm that always does hit like this. He'll invite himself in without knocking and then not duck off despite the numerous amounts of hints you'll give him. Tanner. If you see this, please get the duck out of my room. Change the Wi-Fi password. 2. G3T0 Bruh. Your house is haunted. A ghost just changed the Wi-Fi password to get out. I'd offer for you to stay, but I have to get up early. That should work. Oh, I don't mind you getting up early. Should. Yeah. Have I ever read my poetry to you? Oh. Look at the time. I gotta do a thing. Oh no. I'd like to hear it. I've been writing poetry since I was 6. We could critique each other's work. I have the whole night. Tomorrow is my day off. Awesome. I hope you hate Jews and blacks as much as I do. My poetry is almost completely about it. When my aunt got married, a bunch of distant relatives stayed at my grandmother's house. Most left after a couple days. But there were 2 old men that just wouldn't leave. They would claim to be leaving later that day, but would then go out visiting friends and family all day. Come back late and decide it was too late to head home and stay another night. This went on for a couple of weeks. My grandmother finally got fed up with them, and while they were out one day, she gathered up all their things, booked them a hotel room, left their things on the porch with directions to the hotel, and locked the door. What happened after? They came back late and decided it was too late to head home and stayed another night. My auntie Shirley used to signal that visiting time was over by pulling out the vacuum cleaner. If she was vacuuming around you, it was time to go. Yeah. I remember visiting my cousin. I was to stay the night, and they had a cookout with maybe 3 couples. One with 2 preteen kids. That started at 4 in the afternoon. At 10:30 PM, my cousin came and said to me I figured they would take their kids home by now. Sometime later she starts cleaning up. So I help. We get more aggressively constantly. Emptying the beer cooler. Taking away people's glasses as soon as they sit them down. Until she finally says you have to move your cars so we can get out in the morning. This despite the fact that they were not blocking her car. And that it was a weekend anyway. Get into a loud extremely intense fight with somebody else who lives there. I mean, really dig into them. Call your wife an alcoholic. Say you never loved your kids. Claim that you've been sleeping with your secretary for 30 years. Whatever it takes. Make it super awkward for them. And they'll usually disappear on their own. I was thinking the same thing. Especially if the guest thinks they might get dragged into it. If I overstay my welcome, just tap me on the head. Colonel Angus. OHHH, that's why my mum has been doing that to me for 19 years now. No dude. I don't think that's why. I have a wall plaque in the guest room which reads, "House guests are like fish, they start to stink when they hang around too long. A guest and a fish start to stink on the third day. As they say where I live." Oh man. If I were at someone's house and I smoked some bud, that plaque would make me so ducking paranoid. Hey, you wanna help me masturbate to pictures of Chuck Norris? If I was leaving, I'm staying now. Start to subtly masturbate around the house. Get more and more brazen should your guest remain oblivious. The ensuing awkwardness should cause them to leave. That's a bold strategy. If they don't leave and essentially call your bluff, what then? Come on them and then fall asleep on the floor. One of my best friends is a lingerer. Love the dude. He rules. But dear god dude, I got hits to do. I have a kid and hit. If I'm being entirely honest, I don't just come out and say it. You build to that. Phase 1 is like, say you got crazy plans tomorrow. Phase 2 is like, hey man, I'm gonna wrap this beer up and I need to think about crashing. Phase 3 is like, yeah dude. I know. Ducking work man. It's endless. I know man. Yeah. Then I check the time on my phone and hate myself a bit. Phase 4 is a slightly prolonged bathroom trip so that perhaps he will notice the time on his phone. Or so that perhaps he'll assume I've died and will head off. Not wanting to catch a murder rap. Phase 5 is like, alright dude, I'm out. Yo, I'm lame. I know. Fine, one more beer. Phase 6 is the moment of truth. Alright man. I'm going to bed. You okay to drive? You wanna crash here? Whatever's fine with me. But I tap. Phase 7 is when you realize you've lied to yourself about phase 6. Yeah man, great to see you. Yeah for sure. Yeah, we'll chill soon. You realize you're talking to him like it's phone call with your mom. Yeah totally. Deaf man. Yeah of course. Alright dude, drive safe. Phase 8, you turn all the lights off as fast as possible and go to bed. AWW. You sound like a good friend though. I go through this process every time my brother-in-law comes over to hang out. Thankfully, he and my husband are close enough for him to just say, "Hey bud. Time for you to head out. Thanks for coming over." But it's something we have to be aware of if we know he'll be at a party. We've had friends mention that he's stuck around for hours after the last guest leaves. So we've set a rule for him: if at least 2 other guests are still there, he's okay. But the second another person leaves, he has to as well. I think a lot of it has to do with him being on the autism spectrum. So he just doesn't pick up on the social cues of hosts trying to suggest he leave. We try to help with that when we can. A small clarification. This could be a friend who's come over for dinner, had a few drinks and isn't leaving on their own accord. Could be a relative down for a while, who's camped out in your lounge over a week now. Any interpretation is fine. Please. Are you asking for advice? He's asking for a friend. I just usually smile and tell them I've called them a cab, and then they get awkward and have to say thanks and I say you're welcome. And if they don't say thanks, I just say you're welcome and hope they say thanks then. And if both don't work, I guess I'll just move out and it's their house now. So, that's how you get on the property ladder. Got it? Sit next to them seductively with your laptop and launch Microsoft Excel. Oh. You play Eve too? Let me get my laptop. Good morning. How are you? Be out of my house before I get home from work. I read the how as who. Good morning. Who are you? Be out of my bed before I get home from work. My grandfather always told me the story about his uncle who would just come right out and say, in a firm but not yelling voice, go home when he had tired of company. Come to think of it, he told me this story often. I'm just now beginning to figure out that my grandfather was telling me to go home and directly. Lol. Tell them to get out. Nah, I'm fine. And it's chilly outside. What's for dinner? My foot if you don't get out of my house. Tell them you have a bed bug infestation. Thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe to RedditQueen for the best daily content.